The Triple M Footy
Listen to the fans.
Fan Podcast.
That's right, listen to the fans. It's the Triple M Footy Fan Podcast back. And you know what else is back? Bloody footy.
Bloody
ladies and gentlemen.
friggin' footy.
Bloody friggin' footy. It's June 11, that date that they've set for so long. We've all been keen, we've all been waiting. My name's Rudy Etzel. I'm joined by Ethan Meldrum over there.
How are you, Rudes?
I am just, I can smell the cut grass in the air.
Just a teensy bit up and about.
Just a teensy bit up and about. And, of course, George Porter is on the buttons. How are you, Ports?
Good to be here, boys. It's kind of like, you know when you see in movies, if someone's in jail, they kind of like count how many days, like a tally on the wall or something.
Yeah.
It's kind of like being crossing out the calendar until the footy's finally back. So
1, 2, 3, 4, then the cross through, and then you start.
Yeah.
That's right.
It was just so very beautiful waking up this morning, and it was like 3 degrees, you know, frost on the cars, all that sort of
stuff.
winteriness. And you're like, it's footy.
Yeah.
It's so footy.
Ports is here, subbing in for Rabsy. We had to replace a Pies fan with a Pies fan, didn't we?
exactly. Well, you know, if we're going to kick off the season with Richmond Collingwood, then you need to
Have a Pies fan.
nuff it up
Fair
somehow.
enough.
With no Tigers fans here.
Having said that, there's no Ryan today, no Beersy who's been here before. There is a distinct lack of Collingwood fan here today.
What are you saying?
We've had as many as 3. Do I detect a lack of confidence?
Oh, I didn't think of it that way.
You know, there's a couple of Pies fans have just shirked the opportunity to be on a fan podcast. Are you getting cold feet?
No,
Is that how you feel?
Playing against the mob that's just won the granny by 15 goals.
No, well, I actually tipped Collingwood. I don't know why.
Yeah, so did I.
There's literally no evidence apart from a game that they played about 81 days ago. But it's just nice to be able to have a bit of normality back and know that you can go home and put, you know, I love live sport and I'll literally watch any live sport if it's on. And then obviously through COVID, they've been playing old Cricket World Cups that I've been watching, and it's just, you know what happens. You're just finally looking forward to a new storyline or a new game to watch. So I can't wait to watch 9 games of footy, let alone a Collingwood game.
You mentioned the old cricket, George. It's a bit of an aside, but a mate came over to my joint on Sunday night and we had a few beers. And KO are playing, they have the old 94, 95 Ashes, the first couple of tests.
Right.
We watched the first test, and the first thing Richie Beno says is England's been in a bit of disarray. Devon Malcolm's missing this match with chicken pox. It could only happen to England in the 90s.
Man.
But this is the Footy Fan Podcast, not the Cricket Fan Podcast.
It gets stuffed, Devon Malcolm.
Yeah. So what we've been wanting to know is,
pox.
what's everyone most pumped for on the return? Heater, what is the thing that's got your blood boiling the most?
I've really missed my mob having 20 were inside 50s and the opposition losing comfortably.
Ethan is a Melbourne fan, of course.
Yeah.
So is that
just real routine?
Is that how you see things going against Carlton on a Saturday afternoon?
Well, 20 inside 50s more is a given.
Yeah.
I don't know. Jack Silvani kicking 5, something like that.
Yeah.
What about you, Roots?
Well, I'd like to say I'm most pumped for Geelong Hawthorn, but I honestly dread those games. I don't think I've enjoyed one for a long time.
You just know Clarko's been preparing for this for forever.
I've been saying this. I'm 100% sure Hawthorn's going to do us. That it's all this chat about it's the first time down there in Geelong for however many years. Hawthorn have never been there. They need to get the GPS out to figure out how to get there. And you just know that, all the chat's been Geelong. It's like Geelong's the big winner of the new fixture because they got all these games at home. You just know Clarko has been screenshotting those, sending them to the players, going,
putting them on the wall.
Look what they think about us, boys. They reckon we've already got this lost, and they're just going to come out and they'll be 24 points up at quarter time. And cruise to a 6-goal
If you could
win.
get a live satellite image over Waverley Park at the moment, you could tell that they probably have rubbed out all the lines. They've completely rejigged the surface to make it the exact
dimensions,
layout and dimensions that is GMHBA Stadium.
Yeah, they didn't know they were playing there until about 20 minutes ago, and it will be a Clarko tactical masterstroke genius if they get up.
That's right, yeah.
And they will.
We had
because
Isaac.
they will. They absolutely will. They'll win the grand final this year, and everyone will be like, great. They've done it again.
Yeah.
They're just so good. Such a good club.
Bloody Clarko.
I'm very much looking forward to, and it's still probably going to be a few weeks away, unfortunately. But I'm looking forward to, where are you watching the footy this weekend? I don't know. Hey, let's go watch it at the pub.
Yes.
And let's have a beer at the pub and a meal. So I don't know how obviously there's probably going to be, millions of people listening to this across Australia where your restrictions might be different, but currently here in Melbourne, I don't think you can even get in the pub for as long as 3 hours. So watching an entire game of footy could be a bit tough. But when you can
Yes.
just roll up, have a couple of beers and enjoy it.
2-hour bookings at the moment. in
2-hour
pubs, trust
bookings,
me,
so-
I know. Well,
Although
yeah,
16-minute quarters, maybe you
Yeah,
could actually
just
just
about
really
get
get
it
away
done.
with it,
Could
actually. but-
just about get it done.
If-
That's- yeah.
you might,
if
you
you're
might have to watch the last 5 minutes of the game from outside through the window.
If,
Yeah.
you're, if you're a Carlton fan, it means you can go home at 3/4 time.
Yeah, or a Crows fan. They like to leave early as well.
That's a massive claim, Heater, when your mob's playing Carlton.
Yeah, that's
That's
correct.
Yeah, your mob who
If-
finished
if-
17th.
Here's
Your
a
mob who finished
soundbite
below
for next
Carlton
week.
last
If
year, I
you're,
think.
no, they did. Oh, yes, they did.
Yeah, I think you'll find they did.
Let's
Oh,
move-
no.
let's move.
No,
If
no,
you're one
no,
of the
no,
two
no.
Gold Coast fans, you can go home.
Oh, yeah. Now you're picking on Gold Coast. That's real
Oh,
courageous.
yeah. Good on you,
Yeah.
big fella.
You just scan all the teams on the that finished below you on the ladder last year, and it's like, oh, it's one.
Most, I reckon Melbourne are have just about most at stake this weekend. To be honest, if they lose, then 0-2. If they lose to Carlton and they're 0-2 in a 17-round season,
I nearly need to
yeah.
do a little bit of a reminder about who's where on the ladder and who's playing well, or who played well in round one. But Melbourne,
I can't even remember.
well, because Melbourne didn't show up over in Perth, and that's happened before.
The season had already been called off by that time. By the time
It
they
did.
played,
Like
it had already been
that
called
would
off. It was
have been
super
a
weird.
very weird thing to have.
Have
played
I,
through,
I mean,
yeah.
I'm already normally mentally checked out of Melbourne games, but that
particularly when
that
they're in
was
Perth.
particularly when they're in Perth, facing West Coast.
The derby should be a ripper. Sorry, the showdown should be a ripper.
Yep.
And then I'm also really looking forward to seeing how the Dogs bounce back from their. They were shellacked by Collingwood, really.
Yeah, and
Massive
St
game.
Kilda bottled round one as well.
Yeah, and
They
that's
should have
another
beaten
one.
the Bombers. Yeah,
That's another one. One of those two clubs is 0-2, and the Dogs have all these huge expectations because of their exciting list. And then St Kilda they've really thrown the
Actually,
towel. They've thrown the towel. Thrown the kitchen sink this season.
You
so-
know what I'm looking forward to?
What?
There's but there's less assistant coaches in the box. There's less staff because of all the restrictions and everything.
Yeah.
All the support around Bevo that he had last year in round one is not there. He's going to go mental. He's going to throw.
Oh yeah.
He's going to throw Jason Johannesson in the ruck, and Lockie Hunter will return at full forward, and Zane Cordy will be playing on the ball, and just real stupid stuff will happen. I'm looking
probably
forward
a really good chance to see which clubs are the most united and on-field coaches. I know we've all said that
Yeah.
before, and it's been
just-
put out there. But
it's-
with less people, which clubs can react the best, and who's going to come out?
It's all
You know, on
all roads are leading to Hawthorn. And Clarko. Yeah, we're going to get
about
Clarko
to
again
say.
this season. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
Imagine the power of someone like Luke Hodge at Brisbane this year.
If there's anyone who can theorize and plot tactics for coronavirus, it's Alistair
It's bloody
Clarkson.
Clarko. Yeah, he's just there. Oh, they're good. They're so good. All right, let's move on. We've been trying to think of because you get used to cliches in footy season. Normally,
You're one week at a
everyone knows them.
time.
You're 1
type
week at a time.
operator.
Full
Yep.
credit to the boys, sort of stuff. We're trying to figure out what will be the new cliches in this new age of coronavirus footy and stuff like that. And the first one I can think of is that you can guarantee every game where there's no fans will be described as the atmosphere will be described as eerie.
Mm. Although, now that they're talking about, or we haven't seen what Seven and Fox and how they're going to do it yet, but with the rugby league,
The sound
the
over the
sound,
broadcast.
they've done a great job of it. It'll
Yeah,
look
they're great.
eerie, and it'll still be a little bit weird to have, your cardboard cutouts of, whichever serial killer you choose to print out, as
yeah.
they did in the rugby league.
Rugby league. I saw one of Eddie last night pointing down the barrel of the camera.
Oh, really?
Yeah, BT posted on his Instagram.
Oh,
Yeah.
of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he might be allowed to go, actually, if they're allowing board members. But, being described as eerie, players celebrating with no fans or maybe high-fiving.
Like was it Tom Papley in the
It was
first?
Papley.
Yeah.
I'd like to see Michael O'Loughlin style. Just if you kick a goal and the other team's cheer squad, just walk up to one of the
cardboard cutouts.
and be like, "Yeah, come on,
Straight in their face!
Yeah,
He's just screaming at an empty chair.
Or
Yeah.
or the Dale Thomas giving it the finger.
Oh yeah,
Actually, that's a great idea. If you're a West Coast fan listening to this podcast, get a cutout of that bloke from 15
Yes.
years ago, front row behind the goals.
I think the front bar
Please.
found him not long ago. So
They did, yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah,
Another one you can rely on.
Rumor has it he's still yelling.
Another one I'm really looking forward to seeing all the time is those weird socially distant interviews where the players have to are standing in front of the
Yeah.
mic and then the boundary rider is on the 15 meters.
yeah,
Yeah,
ages
just
away.
3 or 4 meters away on the boundary.
I saw one. It was I can't remember what sport it was, but it was like a microphone that was being held on some sort of it was like a selfie stick almost.
Like a boom
yeah.
mic or something. Yeah,
And it's just a player that's obviously got no one within you know, 15 feet of him, and there's this microphone that just pops up underneath his
Yeah.
chin. Real bizarre.
It's really, really weird. What about players audibly swearing at each other on umpire mics? You can already sometimes sort of hear it, but now it's going to be crystal clear.
Yeah, Brendan Goddard won't be happy.
We're going to have M ratings for all the footy this year.
No bag of pretzels is safe.
Yeah, that's right. We're also, you can guarantee that every commentator, and fair play to them, will run the
No, not fair play to them.
social distancing gags after a tackle, whether it's missed, whether a tackle is broken or the tackle is landed. They'll be right for for lols.
Yeah,
That
well,
one won't.
that's
Not
they've
very
got
socially
very-
distant that, or very good social distancing in that broken tackle.
It's got a very short lifespan. Those jokes.
Yeah.
I'm calling it after Saturday. Park 'em.
Get just.
Or you
just
want a whole round's worth of social.
a full just allow everything goes to the first round, and then after that it's like, all right, guys,
Right.
Or
Let's
you,
commentate this like it's a normal game of footy.
Yeah, I know. Come on.
or you could go the other way around in theory, and you know you got like say Lewis Jetta just sprinting down the wing, and Lockie Weller's trying to chase him and can't keep up, and he's like, oh, he's socially distancing on the field, stuff like that.
You can definitely see it happening.
It'll get really tight.
And then like the last one I've got here as well is there'll be a lot of commentary about a lack of fans taking away from home ground advantage. That won't necessarily be during the commentary, but you'll hear that. There'll be a lot of Twitter, like tweets and stuff like that, and then there'll be people talking about it in the postgame. Every time a home team loses, whether it's Geelong tomorrow night against Hawthorn, you reckon they'd have won that with the fans, don't you? You really think that the fans would have made a difference there?
What do they call it? The umpire what
Noise of affirmation?
That's
Yeah.
correct.
That is, of course, unless you're a North fan, in which is status quo. But
Wait, that's another little mean dig from
You're
me.
really punching down on the small little clubs, aren't you?
He's having
We don't need to go through all the small clubs that have won a flag since Melbourne's won a flag.
yeah, Melbourne's gone 12 weeks without a loss. Like, this is my only
Some kind
opportunity
of record.
That's almost
just
like a flag win.
piss on everyone else,
over there.
and that's about it.
Before we move on, though, how do you think Harley Bennell will go as a
I'm
Melbourne fan?
really keen to see how he
Yeah.
goes. Like, I mean, it's his last. I suppose it's his last real crack at it, isn't it? Because you know he breaks down again, and you know he's only on a 1-year deal at Melbourne. Who else would pick him up? Because you know it was only between Melbourne and Geelong last time.
Yeah,
around?
that's right.
And yeah, it was line ball both clubs. You know, considering him even then. So, you know,
It's a
you
perfect.
want to hope he takes his opportunity. while he's got it.
1,000 days.
Yeah, it's a long time.
It's a perfect.
Over
It was a great pickup by Melbourne as well, because he's actually what they need. A little bit of class. Really,
Yeah.
because they lack a bit of like class
A
disposal.
little bit of outside running,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
Little bit.
Or just just a good player.
Yeah.
Full stop.
That's right. So fans are being allowed in over in South Australia because they're more or less on top of the coronavirus. And Of course,
Yeah.
I think
They have.
They're fitting in, the Giants are fitting in 350 corporate types into their boxes in that game.
The real diehards.
But so there's 2,000 at the showdown, and I think
2,000. I think it was 2,250.
Oh, okay,
I
right.
think so. Maybe they're doing, and I did hear, it might have been the rush hour last night. Actually, said that Port are getting 75% of the crowd
Yeah,
because it's
yeah,
their home
home
game,
game.
and they're doing it through a ballot. If you get selected, you obviously go, and
Mm.
then if they now obviously Port and the Crows are heading up to the Gold Coast for a hub for the next however long. So those people who get selected to go to the crowd this week are out of the ballot for the next couple of weeks or for how long.
Yeah.
A mate of mine got a ticket. Shout out to Macca.
Did he?
Well done.
Ah,
Yeah,
well
well done,
done.
Macca.
That's pretty exciting.
Yeah, it is pretty exciting.
I'll tune into the showdown because more often than not, they're actually quite a good game. But just to see
always, the
how
teams legit hate each other.
they're just going to actually seat 2,000 people, where are they going to put them? Are they all behind the goals? I assume they're all going to be on the other wing to make it look like, you know, the opposite of the broadcast side, to make it look a little bit more.
I think
appealing?
I think it's all at I think it's all of the top tier. I think it's just the top tier.
Top tier.
Oh,
I think
really?
so. Yeah. I think that's
Yeah,
what
right.
I
I
heard.
hope not. It'd be weird. There'll be some real bizarre crowd shots from Channel 7. I think they were taking it. Like, it was just panning out and seeing, like, you know, one fan and then another fan that's like 3 meters away, and they're both, you know, screaming at the top of their lungs, you know, as Port Adelaide's kicked another goal, blah, blah, blah. It'll look real bizarre.
Yeah.
It definitely will. But if you were in charge, Ports, of a club, and you had to pick 2,000 fans to come in, how'd you do it?
Goal kicking competition.
Yeah.
Easily. Yeah.
How do you whittle it down? So you say you've got 50,000 people that want to come. How
Yep.
do you whittle it down to 2,000?
Well, you know, goal kicking's obviously been a massive issue for a long time now. And if you just need to get a couple of fans, just put them 20 metres straight out in front, put the pressure on of actually getting a ticket into your game to watch your team, let's see how they go.
That's right.
The top 2,000.
We've all heard what you said to Charlie Dixon.
Yeah.
We all heard what you said to Tex Walker. Put your
Now
money
here
where
you
your
go.
mouth is,
Yeah,
pal.
can you work it out? So,
Yeah, the top one gets to line up at full forward, and the next 2,000 get a ticket.
I don't know. I mean, I did read that Jeff Kennett is choosing not to take up the offer of the AFL of board members
Yes, I did.
are being allowed to go. I do like that. Well, if we can't go in the members, if we can
I
go
did
but the
enjoy
members
that.
car, I do. Like, I think that's
The Hawthorn board just don't want to go to Geelong. Fair enough.
Yeah, no, I don't blame them.
Yeah, it's far away.
Yeah,
And
who
it's
would?
cold.
Well, how did you get 2,000? I mean,
How would
ballots
I
are
get
all fair.
2,000?
You can, yeah.
I reckon, those games that you play at trivia nights where you stand up and everyone puts their hand on their ass or their hands on their head. Just do that
Like-
till you got 2,000.
Roofs or flats.
Roofs or
whatever.
flats, cricket bat. Yeah, everyone. Roofs, you put your hands on your head. Flats, you put your hand on your butt,
Yeah,
and then you just play that till you've got 2,250. Easy.
done.
There you go. Or an
Yeah.
old school like bowls club style raffle. Everyone puts in $2.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the first 2,000.
It would be good.
names
Yeah,
get called
donate.
out. What about you, Heater?
Well, the Melbourne fans are all here because normally they're on their way to Buller.